Ahoy there. Today on the Red Sea, when I find a hair in my food, I take it out and continue eating. What kind of non-issues do you think people make a big deal out of? I do not think it should be considered offensive to ask someone how old they are. Honestly, it's just your damn age. Heh, my last date asked how old I was. I told her, then asked the same question. She got offended. I have not asked for a second date. I have no problem eating lunch or any kind of meal by myself. I find that it's really relaxing and do not have to force any kind of conversation. I like getting breakfast at sit-down restaurants alone. I often stay up all night, so taking a walk in the morning and being able to close my eyes and rest a bit while waiting for my omelette is just lovely. And the waitresses never give me a hard time about it. If anything, they spend more time just chatting with me and making sure I have everything I need. Maybe cause they feel bad. I drink at 6 AM because I work nights. Then I get called an alcoholic. Despite the fact that 6 AM is the end of my day. To me, you drinking at 5 PM is crazy because that's breakfast time. I'm sure my neighbors think I'm a waste sitting on the porch at 7 AM drinking a beer and smoking a smiggy. Shift work, making the best of us look like the worst of us. Really, people need to show more respect to late shifters. There's innate stress that goes along with being up all night working, and having some dick be disrespectful because you're doing what they do at a different hour of the day is just ridiculous. The first thing that comes to mind is going to bars/clubs/concerts alone. I actually like it. Even if I do not talk to a single person all night, it's a real confidence booster to be out and in social settings alone and still be comfortable in your own skin. As someone with paralyzing anxiety, it has really helped deal with and overcome that. Hairy people. I massage for a living and I always hear my clients/friends/relatives say they feel so sorry for me having to touch and rub a whole bunch of hairy people for hours at a time. Especially if they have a super hairy back and legs. I cannot even express how much I do not care how hairy my client is. People have hair ... some more than others ... I do not understand why a lot of people find excess hair gross. As a beard owner, hair in my food has to be a non-issue because otherwise I would starve. As a dog owner, what he said, after your dog has French kissed you, it's not that revolting to find hair in your food. Okay, this is kind of gross, but funny. One day in my college dorm, I had a bag of those big pretzel sticks. For whatever reason, I decided to lick off all the salt and put the licked, now saltless pretzel sticks in a bowl that was on the table. So I leave a room to go do something and come back a few hours later to find my roommate Ken eating the licked pretzels. Hey, where did you find these low salt pretzels? They're pretty good. Ken. Those are just regular pretzels that I licked the salt off of. He stops chewing for a shocked moment and looks slightly horrified. Then he shrugs and says, "Oh, screw it. I have already eaten half of them," and proceeds to finish them off. Cutting contact with people. If I have a problem with someone and I do not have to deal with them in order to live my life, I'll cut contact. If all they cause is problems, I'll drop them. I hate it when people ditch about something can be so easily remedied by blocking contact through social media and phone numbers. I hate when other people make a big deal out of my cutting contact with others. I did that with this one girl who has a habit of talking like she thinks she's better than everyone else. Total pretentious bitch. I was not rude. I just do not have anything to do with her anymore. But one of my other friends, and to some extent my boyfriend, cannot let it go. Why would not you talk to her? Why are you being like this? Do not hold grudges. What they fail to understand is that I care too little to hold a grudge. I just do not want to waste my time with people I do not like. Leftover takeaway curry for breakfast. My ex could not fathom how I could eat curry so early. Who gives a malarkey what time it is? It does not bother me to eat other people's leftovers. I do not even bother cutting off the portion of the food that people have bitten. I think this may be more of an Asian thing because most of my Asian friends do not care either and will just take your leftovers and continue eating right over your last bite, while my white friends tend to freak out about it a bit more. I have got a reputation for this at work. They know I'll eat anything, so whenever there's someone new around, they tend to feed me the last bits of their food to freak out the new guy. I do not care. Free food. My immune system is great. I'll even use their fork. I do not really care about double dipping or eating things other people have touched with their mouths. It does seem ridiculous. Does not it? Overly politically correct people. Allow me to give an example. My friend is black, or at least a really dark shade of brown. One day he comes to uni in a suit and lila/mauve shirt under his suit. He had a thing later. And I compliment him, saying his shirt looks amazing with his skin tone. Mainly because it damn well did. A little bit because I'm jealous. In the row behind me, a white as the driven snow girl. That I know. Mainly because she single-handedly runs the local Amnesty International. Calls me, and I quote, a racist, a bigot and a bad friend. Me and my friend are baffled and stare at her. She has the nerve to utter a displeased what? More astounded than anything else. We sit down and ignore her completely. Despite sighs, snorts and grunts. To sum it up, no, every sentence in a conversation with a black man with the word black in it is racist, damn it. I like going out to movies by myself when it's a movie that I actually care about watching and paying attention to, but yet people seem to find this sad or pathetic. It's really not any different than going to the grocery store by yourself or watching a movie alone at home on your couch. I also think that people make a huge deal out of drinking alone and it's not always warranted. I mean, if we're talking about a barely functioning alcoholic who has to drink, then yeah, it's a problem. But people have given me malarkey for having a few glasses of wine alone. I do not see the big deal. I guess I'm just quite introverted and do not need accompaniment every time I want to do something. As a cashier, I have never found it a big deal when people are on their cell phones while I'm scanning their items. If anything, it means I'm not obligated to talk to them. If it does not affect the speed at which you can get them to leave. Sure. I worked at a Subway and everyone hates the arsehole that orders food while on the phone. We got super rude to them. Sometimes completely skipping them and serving the next person in line if they did not respond to a question in less than a few seconds. That was fun though. Food being ever so slightly past its use by date. Oh, this went off yesterday, it'll be fine. No, I don't trust it. Ducking. Give it here then. Rain. People tend to stand around under awnings to wait out the rain instead of walking literally 200 feet to their car and getting a little wet. It's not raining down battery acid. It's water. I just do not get it. Curse words. I fail to see why saying darn instead of damn or crap instead of malarkey is more acceptable when the same meaning is conveyed. Last week at a Montana's, my buddy got my medium rare steak by mistake when he had ordered his well done. He was giving the waitress a hard time about it, and when I realized the mistake, I just stuck a fork in the medium rare steak and took it off of his plate. I swapped it with the one I had gotten and said there ... all ducking fixed. He shut up, and the waitress could not believe what I had just done. People complain too much about food in restaurants. They could be eating out of a ducking dumpster. I also tipped her $20 for having to put up with his rant. I do not understand people getting offended about saying Merry Christmas. It's the dominant holiday in our society. Yes, there are people who do not celebrate it, but who gives a duck really? If someone told me Happy Hanukkah or Merry Festivus, I would say thank you and move on with my day. Why go out of your way to be a douchebag to someone just trying to be nice? Here in Sweden it's not often someone says happy holidays or something like that. We usually all say Merry Christmas. A couple of years ago someone wished me a Happy Hanukkah, and I became really happy for some reason. I did not get mad because I celebrate Christmas and not Hanukkah. The person was just spreading joy, and it made me happy after an otherwise malarkey day. Holes in old clothes. I'm not talking about your asses showing because your pocket is ripped off. My mom always makes a big deal of little holes on the bottom of my shirt or old jeans when we go out in public. Who gives a malarkey? I mean, under certain circumstances like going to have a family dinner or your job, yeah. Makes perfect sense, unless you're lucky enough to have an employer that does not care. Who the duck am I trying to impress when I go get groceries or to a movie? Washing clothes after a single use. Clothes do not just magically become dirty because they were hanging from your body instead of a hanger, unless you are really dirty or you expose them to dirty situations. I could wear a pair of pants for a month, non-consecutive days, without even remotely worrying about washing them. If your clothes do not smell, have wrinkles, or have stains, keep going. Bees. Bees are not out to get you. People freak when they even see a bee. There is no need. Bees do not want to sting you and die. They would rather avoid that. When I was a young kid, I moved a tire with a hornet's nest and ended up with 100 stings. After that I was very afraid of bees. My older sister always made fun of me for it. One day there was a bee in our garage and I ran out. My older sister used the opportunity to make fun of me and taunted me with the bee in the garage. I finally had enough, went into the garage, grabbed the bee, came back out holding the bee, and made it sting me while she watched. That was the end. I have zero fear of them now. And it amazes me how docile they are. If I see bees now, I will pick them up. Or pet them as they are on flowers. Whatever. Unless you threaten them or their home. They do not care about you. The necessity to wear matching socks. What does it matter if one sock is blue and the other is red? Spiders. If you are arachnophobic, then you have a little bit more of an excuse, because there's nothing you can do about an irrational fear. If not, well maybe it's just because I have grown up in Australia. Peeing in the shower. It's a clean room. Just aim down and let the shower keep you clean. It's why we use ceramics and acrylics. I think farting is a terribly overhyped thing. People flip malarkey about it. I mean, yeah, I get it when someone rips a big, massive fart in the middle of a quiet place. But just letting out some of that trapped gas can make your day so much better. I would love to be able to fart without having to go to the bathroom every goddamn time. Drinking tap water. I actually prefer the taste over the tasteless filtered water that everyone seems to have. People tend to look at me in shock when I fill up a glass from the tap, like I'm drinking baby's blood or something. Being barefoot. I absolutely hate wearing shoes. My friends freak out when I don't like wearing them to run out, to grab the mail or something. The mailbox is not even 20 feet from my front door. Whoa, hey, take it easy, it is the end of the video. Do not worry, there are many more. Come aboard the ship for more trips. Like and subscribe for more posts from the Reddit Sea Cove. Thanks for watching.